Hello, my name is Austin Lugar, and this is The Real Deal. I am so excited to sit here with Charlaine Harris, who's become one of the most popular women in the mystery genre today. If you haven't heard of Sookie Stackhouse by now, you're in for a treat. From the book series written by Charlaine Harris to the new TV show True Blood, which is on HBO, just finished up its second season. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, well, thank you for inviting me, Austin.
Now, what I think is so interesting is that your first two series had no paranormal things at all about it. It was the Aurora Teaguard and the Lily Bard series, right?
Right. They were both conventional mystery series, though harder edged than some cozier series.
Mm-hmm. So then where was the transition into the Sookie Stackhouse?
Truthfully, I wanted to appeal to a broader readership. My two series had done okay, not great, and I wanted to move my career forward. I was looking at turning 50, and I thought, well, if not now, when?
Well, I would say the two series had actually a pretty strong following. Like I know at the Mystery Company, we love the Lily Bard series.
Oh, well, thank you. Unfortunately, the sales did not back up the fan fervor for them. They were kind of an acquired taste, I guess. But also, fortunately, now that the Sookie series has been so successful, all my earlier work is back in print.
Now, it wasn't easy to initially pitch the Sookie Stackhouse series. Actually, can you talk about what the series is about real fast for the few people who don't know?
The Sookie series is based in mystery, but it's also got a strong supernatural element. It's about a telepathic waitress in northern Louisiana who falls in love when a vampire walks into the bar where she works. And it's very different from a conventional mystery, but it does contain a mystery.
And there's a strong level of romance in it as well.
There's an element of romance. There's not, I don't know that it's really that much stronger than in other paranormal books.
Okay.
But it does get a lot more attention.
Okay. And was this easy to pitch to publishers initially?
No, it really wasn't. Even my agent didn't really like the first book, and I wrote it without having a contract. I wrote it on spec. So I was very nervous about selling it, and it turned out it took 2 years for my agent to find a place that would take it.
And now looking back, that's a bit ridiculous, actually.
Now that it's in its 20-umpteenth printing, I'm just kind of going, ha, ha, ha.
So around what book did the popularity just explode?
The first book, the sales really started booming. Ace came back and asked me to sign a contract for 2 more, which I did. And when the second book came out, they came right back and asked me for 3 more. So it was really popular from the outset, much to my surprise, I might add.
What I think is interesting about the paranormal books is that the authors have to set up a set of rules. Every series has a set of rules, but for paranormal, you really have to have a lot more than you would do for like a typical PI novel. What were some of the things that you had to think about as you were making this series?
I had to think about werewolf genetics.
Oh,
Yeah, everybody thinks about that. I had to think about the rules of being a vampire, what they could do, what they couldn't do, which of the traditional vampire weaknesses and strengths they would have. It took some thinking because you have to create your own world. Everything has to work. Everything has to be consistent with your own rules, but you got to have those rules.
Absolutely. So did you think of all those rules before you even started writing a first draft, or did you think of them as you went along?
I really didn't know I would ever write another Sookie book when I wrote the first one, so I didn't really have all those rules in place. Except the basic vampire ones, because of course there's vampire in the first book. But the others I didn't, because I'm a big one on not wasting effort, and until I was sure I was going to write another book, I wasn't going to sit down and do the mental work.
Now, this series has become now an HBO series created by Alan Ball, the man who created 6 Feet Under and wrote American Beauty. How did that happen? I mean,
well, I'd had an option on the Sookie books very early, and it never came to anything that we thought was good, my agent and I. And when that option was about to lapse, I had 3 more offers on the table. They were all 3 good offers. One of them was from Alan Ball. So I talked to all 3 of the parties involved. I ended up feeling that Alan would be the best person to bring the Sookie books to life, and he asked me how I saw them, and I said, I see them as a series on HBO.
Yeah.
And he had had a good experience working with HBO on 6 Feet Under, and he was really happy to hear that. And, you know, 2 years later, I guess, it actually came to pass.
What a lot of the fans of the books love about the series is that it's rather faithful. I mean, typically you have a TV series based off a book, and it's just the name recognition only. But it seems that Alan Ball and all the other writers have a real love for the books. Has that been really satisfying for you to watch the shows?
Well, yes. Sometimes they have big variations, big variations. But Alan talked to me about that before the series started. He explained why they would have to have it. And then, of course, the writers for the show are tremendously talented, and they want to go in different directions sometimes. I would too if I were them, because some things look better on camera than not. So I've been okay with the changes, but it is always a thrill to hear a line I wrote. You know, I go, I wrote that one. It might be one line per episode, but I'm always excited to hear it.